This is Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and you're listening to the Paranormal Zone.
Look, I know the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen. It does happen. A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey there, ponderers of the paranormal. You are in the Paranormally Zone, your weekly dose of all things paranormal, strange, and mysterious. My name is Patrick Koffenberg, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghosts, the paranormal poster boy himself, the smoldering smoocher, Mike Carbno. Smoldering smoocher.
Yeah, the smooch bandit.
The smooch bandit. You give him a second, he'll steal a smooch. Yes, that takes him just a split second, a blink of an eye. It's like, oh my goodness. He's a Romeo on a whole different level. I was the reason I brought this up is because I was exposed to his romantic physical displays of love with his lady friend Mary right before we started recording this, and I was offended, and I already told him so, and I don't ever want to see those displays of affection ever again, because...
And right away I saw the name Karen right across his forehead.
Exactly. No, I'm just kidding.
Suck it up, Felicia.
No. I'm good. I'm just kidding. You guys have every right to smooch and smack away whenever you want to. So it's
well,
it's all
don't
good.
you and the Bridget ever smooch and smack each other lip wise?
Well, yeah, but not on camera in front of our friends like you two just did, because you just don't give a shit. So I'm like, oh damn it, Mike. Anyways,
love is what makes the world go round.
That's very true. And I'm very, very happy for you. So Mike's got this little smirky grin on his face, and he's like, I can just hear the background music. Love is in the air. That's all wonderful. So I'm happy.
That's right.
I'm happy for you.
You should see her when she wears my t-shirts.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. Well, I'm glad it's just t-shirts and nothing else. I was thinking that it was...
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that sounded bad. No. I didn't mean it that way.
I know you didn't.
I was thinking she was going through your, I was thinking you were suggesting she was going through your underwear drawer or something like that.
No, nothing like that.
Making sure everything fit snug.
No,
Okay.
No. My underwear would fall down around her ankles if she tried to wear them.
Okay, that's good to know.
And she would walk right out of them easily.
Well, again, good to know. Maybe I know what to get you for Christmas now. So
I could wear her panties, but it would be on half my head, and that would be it.
Up around your ankle, and then it stops there.
That's one ankle.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, boy, that was pretty ridiculous right there.
Yes.
So thank you everyone for tuning in. Yeah, Mike, I'm pretty excited about this episode. It seems like forever since we last recorded, but I guess we've been used to doing the midweek Patreon episodes, and we're doing those tomorrow. So, so I've missed you, my friend. It's been a week. I haven't seen your glorious Scully for a week, and so
my Scully, yeah.
I keep saying Scully. Is it okay?
Well, whatever.
Correct me. I mean, put a nail in the coffin of my ignorance here. Scully or Scully?
It's a Scally.
Scally. Okay. Yep. I keep saying Scully. God damn it. So, all right. Anyways, I missed your glorious. My
Scully is in the Scally.
Hey, that's a great way of remembering it. There you go.
Yes.
There you go. So, Well, okay, I know. I meant to say I missed your glorious scally. How's that?
Yes.
sound? But you're not wearing your Gone Squatching shirt. What the hell's wrong?
No, I'm just wearing my black. I wanted to see if I could get my head looking like it's floating.
You're just
in
wearing
the darkness.
You're wearing your black
Yeah.
T-shirt and nothing else. You're just sitting.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And black panties.
No, black socks pulled up to your knees. Yeah. I can see that.
Black synthetic pants pulled up to my boobs. Wearing white socks with thongs on my feet.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Oh, thongs on your feet. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think actually I did miss one of those times that I missed. I was in great disgust, and another one could have been in great agony. Yeah, because I had a bad work experience.
Oh, I know.
You remember? And I was like, I can't record tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. I just cannot. I
Well-
cannot do it.
Well, thankfully, last Friday, my brother Joseph, formerly known as Mr. Show, well, still known as Mr. Show, he was able to step in happily for episode 6 of Retro and Randoms, where
It's part 1 of a Deepak mood.
part 1, absolutely, yeah, because we barely scratched the surface on that one. We're huge fans. As awesome Patreon subscriber Rachel called us fangirling over Depeche Mode, and so I think, which is true.
That's right.
We just kind of blubbered about them for about an hour.
There's nothing wrong with fangirling.
And we're looking forward to part 2, and I'm looking forward to you rejoining me, Mike, for episode 7 tomorrow. Topic
Yes.
as yet unknown, which makes it even
Right.
better. So it'll be even more off the cuff and more.
We have
passionate.
thoughts, but
And we also do have a Patreon episode 4 of the Paranormal Zone coming up tomorrow as well. Looking forward to that one. Yeah, we're going to dive into the idea of, reading minds and the power of the mind, ESP and psychokinesis, all sorts of wonderful stuff like that. So I know we talked about it before, but I don't think we've ever done a deep dive and focus
No, not
an
a deep
episode
dive, no.
entirely on that stuff. So we're looking forward to that. We'd love to see you guys there. That will be episode 52 of the Paranormal Zone Patreon account, plus loads of other awesome paranormal footage, audio, our own personal stuff is what I'm talking about here. Funny stuff, photos, all sorts of cool things, man. We'd love to see you guys. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month. We'd love to see you there. You can have access to the Retro and Randoms podcast itself if you sign up to the Patreon account. And I think that'd be very much worth it. We're having a blast. It's fun. Yeah. Okay, enough of that crap, right?
I should post a picture on there of the world's largest ball of black German Shepherd fur, because I think I've got it here.
Oh my God! Are you saving it or what?
Oh no! I could though, and it wouldn't take long to have the largest ball of black German Shepherd fur ever.
You could get into the World Book or the Guinness World Book of Records by the oddest, strangest things.
Yeah.
You could actually get make a name for yourself as the owner of the largest ball of German Shepherd.
I got a big enough yard to put it in, but
Well, that's true.
God, then when it gets wet when it rains and it's going to smell bad. Never mind.
Well, and that also requires you to mow your backyard. Have you done that?
I can't. My riding mower still doesn't work, and
Yeah.
now this brand new push mower. Well, I can't do it anyway because my back won't let me. My knee won't let me.
Hmm.
And for some reason, Mary was using it on the front yard the other day, and for some reason that it kind of quit working.
Did you check
So
the
I don't
fuel?
know. There's something wrong. Yes,
Is there-
fuel is full.
Okay.
It's a haunted curse.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Which-
you seem to be experiencing weird things at your podcast station,
Yes.
so that's really interesting.
Very much things flying, popping off. And today, actually, when I was watching the Hallmark Channel, a very romantic movie, Mary and I were watching together, in front of me on the floor, I saw a very black spot. It just moved about 6 feet across the floor, and that was interesting.
Was it German Shepherd hair? Because your German Shepherd
No.
is black.
It was not. It was just a very dark, black, shadowy, just a kind of like an oblong shape.
Really?
I was wondering maybe the ghost cat from the kitchen might have expanded his
Oh.
territory. Maybe, I don't know.
Did you say it was like just slightly above the floor, or it was like
No, it was just like on the floor and just moved along the floor.
really?
It was just kind of weird. There was no height to it at all. It was just,
Damn, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So it was interesting. Something to note.
Again, that's another. I keep going back to all of our cheap plugs, but I'd love feedback from you guys. What you think about the audio that we had during our Ouija session? Nothing direct response wise from the Ouija board session, but we did capture in the background something that sounded fairly odd. Now, Mike, you're kind of certain that was your actual cat that still is alive.
Very well could have been. So that kind of
but it
dismisses it for me. But
yeah, absolutely. There's a couple, but it happens in two different time spots, and so it's kind of interesting. But trust me, that's not even close to the extent of our awesome stuff that we have going there. That's just that's a weak example. So bad on my part, bad Patrick. So, anyways, are we done? Good to see you, everybody. Until next week. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Last week's episode was The Legend of Loch Ness. Tonight, gosh, we have another kind of burgeoning legend in itself, man.
It's an old story, but it's timeless. It's a good one.
Oh, gosh, absolutely. It's Mike and I decided we were going to, when we're going back and forth, suggesting ideas, like, should we do something creepy? You're like, yeah, let's do something creepy. Should we do maybe some sort of, do another haunting type topic? Yeah, let's do that. And Mike was awesome today. I'm so proud of you. Mike just fired away 3 straight awesome suggestions. We had to choose one of them. And we did, Mike, The Haunting of the Sallie House. I'm sure we've mentioned this before in the past.
Oh, yeah. We would have had to have.
But again, never done an exclusive episode solely based around this. You have to call it alleged haunting, but man, is there a lot of... I totally believe in this damn story, and that's saying something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's creepy. I guess without any further ado, we can just dive into it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
now,
ready.
I always kind of start off with just casual questions. This episode for me, this topic, I mean, this came to my forefront, my frontal lobe, I guess. It came to be known by me after watching the Ghost Adventures episode on it. I profess my ignorance, and so I was going to ask you, was this something that you were aware of before it even became well-known after the Ghost Adventures episode? Or is it something that came to you later on in life? Do you have any recollections of that?
Well, I think I remember it going back to I know it was on a couple other shows, and that we'd kind of mentioned when we were talking about it, a haunting, I think. That might have been the first time that I had heard of it.
The television series. The television
on the
series
show, A Haunting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in 2015, it was on Sightings.
Oh, it was recorded on Sightings, the original Sightings, way back in the early 90s. I mean, early to mid 90s.
Oh, it would have been, yeah.
Yeah. We'll definitely.
Well, maybe the Sightings or the A Haunting was 2015. I can't follow my notes very well. I'm
thinking A Haunting is definitely the 2015 one, I would say, Mike.
Sure, I would believe that's correct.
Yeah, Sightings was way back in the day. An awesome show in itself. I love Sightings, that's for sure. So maybe I did watch it and I just forgot. I don't know, because I remember watching Sightings back then. So
yeah, you probably did see it.
I would think so. So I shall redact or retract. That's the word in the news lately, redact, and I won't go into why that's in the news. But I shall rescind those comments because I don't know. Maybe I was aware and I just forgot. So
I dislike words that have been made popular by the media.
The twats and the twits and all that good stuff. Yeah, I know. I hear
Newscasters that they come up with the word like bad players and things like that.
Oh, I know.
Like for things like that, you don't hear them until you hear it on the media. I don't know.
And then people just kind of run with it, but hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. And I also, my gosh, bad on me. I misspelled Sally on this one on my notes too. Good God.
It's SALLIE.
Yeah, I knew that. And thank God. I mean, I spelled it right on the image, on the episode image. Thank God.
Well, that's
obviously.
all that matters.
But on my notes, I wrote it down incorrectly. Oh, that makes me laugh.
I spelled Sally FROG.
That would be wrong. That'd be way wrong. Off on species, off on all sorts of things. So that's on you, buddy. Oh, before we dive into it, I have to do a cheap plug again not for me. Well, kind of for me, but for a particular podcast. Shout out to Alexia, the awesome host of Titanic Talk Line. I had the pleasure and privilege of being a guest on her podcast last Sunday. Talking. Yeah, you guessed it. All things Titanic, because she was really fascinated with my take. Our take on
not our take. I had the great pleasure of not being invited.
Hey now. hey now. Don't look at me. I stubbed my toe.
You represented both of us on the.
I did.
I would have just been in the way anyway.
Oh my God! Now he's acting like he's crying. He's taking a gulp of water so he can prevent the gushing of tears.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But it was good though, right?
It was awesome. It was awesome because she had come across our Curse of the Titanic episode, and she was fascinated by that. I shouldn't say fascinated. I hope she was fascinated by it, but she was intrigued and asked if I could appear on the show. I was like, absolutely. I love talking all things Titanic. It went great. It went awesome. I think the episode will drop in November, I believe. Her podcast is a hot and upcoming item, so go and check it out. You can find her on Twitter at Titanic Talkline, and you can go listen to me. If you can't get enough of my whiny, nasally voice, you can go listen to me sometime in November, chatting all things Titanic with her. So thank you very much to Alexia. That was great.
Yes, listen to Patrick with another guest on his show. Probably went better than when I'm on it.
Are you going to stop? Are you going to whine this whole time?
I'm groveling.
I mean, are you going? You made me feel bad enough for talking with Joe about the Depeche Mode on Retro and Randoms. It's like, come on, man.
Oh no.
It's like,
isn't that part of the deal?
Is there anything else that I'm
doesn't
hurting
that
you
make
with?
for great banter?
Well, I guess. You make me feel bad. God dang it, man. Oh, the last thing I wanted to say real quick about the about
made you feel so bad you froze up.
I know exactly. I did see something that Alexia just tweeted because she's at this Titanic Con right now and she's tweeting about it. And the last thing she tweeted, just like maybe 15, 20 minutes ago, was pretty cool. On display there was the life jacket that Madeline Astor wore after John Jacob Astor, her husband, placed it upon her as he led her onto the lifeboat, and of course he was not allowed to follow her. That was on display and she was allowed to touch it, and she said she almost burst into tears. It was so moving, and I was like, I need to go to this damn place. I bet that was pretty awesome. So again, had a good time. Hope you guys checked that out.
They should have had Mrs. Astor autograph it. Well, it would have been cool.
I'm not even going to comment on that.
Just give her one of those big fat Sharpies.
Are you done?
I'm done now. Yes.
All right. Anything else that you want that I can hurt your feelings with, or I have hurt your feelings with in the last week or so?
No, don't want to talk about it.
Oh, so I have.
I'm just kidding. Let's go. We got the Sallie House.
The Sallie House. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. If you're still listening to us right now, God bless you. So,
yes.
Well, Mike, did you want to kind of take the background story of this before we dive into all the alleged hauntings, or how do you want to go about this?
Well, it's a pretty simple background, actually. It is known as one of the most haunted houses in Atchison, Kansas.
Yeah, that's where it's located. It's one of the most haunted houses in America, I thought, right?
Yes, which is only like 9 hours from where we live, so we discovered.
Mike and I were seriously talking about making plans to go down there. It's a 9.5 hour drive from my hometown, so I think that would be maybe even closer for you.
Not bad at all.
We can go
they
down.
Have self-guided tours. Or you can spend the night. Yep,
that's what I would love to do. I want to get separate rooms though, Mike. I refuse to stay in the same room with anybody. So,
well, even in the Sallie house,
does that hurt your feelings too? I mean, I'm just wondering right now. Would you be okay with that?
Hey,
or did you need to spoon while we're at the Sallie house? Would that make you feel better?
Hey, I could take the floor of the living room, and you could take the floor of the dining room or kitchen if you wanted to.
Or you know what? We could just stay up all damn night investigating the frickin' place.
And investigate. That would be the most. That would be
I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, $125. $125 $125
$125
per person.
Woo! That was
$125 per person. That's November through August, 2-person minimum. September and October, $150 per person, 2-person minimum.
Man.
But yeah, something that
I love it.
Needs to be discussed. But the house was originally built in the mid 1800s. Now I'd seen one writing where it said the turn of the century, but then I'd seen more that it was in the mid 1800s, which
that's what I had seen. The majority of it said it was
more. Yeah,
I actually found years that they thought it was originally purchased by the original owner, Michael Finney. In the years that's not even nailed down specifically, but it says they think it was purchased between 1867 and 1871. So that's the closest I could get to an actual date.
Yeah, and a doctor that used the front room as an office space and also exam rooms, and they lived upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, the family.
And
the Finney family.
So, I'd always thought that it was the little girl Sally was from that family, but then I read that it was a woman that brought her in with an appendicitis, and she was in very bad shape. And the doctor gave her anesthetic and actually had her on the table and started cutting into her before the anesthetic kicked in.
How awful is that?
And she died right there on the table from that, and not from the actual appendicitis.
This was a 6-year-old girl,
right?
6 years old, who was brought there by her panic-stricken mother. And at this time, the house was owned by Michael Finney's son, Dr. Charles Finney. Mm-hmm. And, he's a very prominent figure in this whole story, obviously, because he's the one who performed this emergency, I guess, appendectomy. And we're going to dive into some of the perhaps insidious motivations of this man, definitely alleged, and why he was so quick to perform this surgery and to cut into this poor girl's body before the anesthetic even set in. But
yeah,
she just died of, there's no real official explanation of her death other than she just died from such pain and shock.
And it said in there that so the last thing that she had seen was the face of this man torturing her, and she died.
Yeah, because she would, what else could she believe? She didn't know what was going on. And the last thing she saw was, why are you cutting into me right now? Why are you hurting me right now? She's screaming and screaming and screaming. Mm-hmm. And then eventually her screams start to fade. And as the story goes, she turned pale and limp and died right there on the operating table, right in the guy's house. Now, was his office / examination room in an actual basement or just on the first level?
The front room was office space, and then it had said that the exam rooms were on that floor as well. So main floor.
Well, the family lived upstairs, and they lived upstairs. Yep. Yeah. Man, just that itself. If it wasn't a true story, that's like a awesome. And I'm not saying this in a disrespectful manner at all. That is almost a perfect setup for a haunted story.
Oh, absolutely. So if we spent the night there, I think we would both have to stay in that front room and exam area.
Oh gosh! If you can, for sure. Yeah, I guess I don't know the parameters of where you're allowed to stay.
All it said on the rules was that you have to bring your own sleeping bag and pillow, blankets, whatever, because you cannot sleep in the beds or on the beds.
Right. Okay.
So anywhere else is fair game, and it said you cannot use a Ouija board there. You cannot cook there. You cannot try to clear the house of any spirits.
That's interesting. That part there.
That's part of the livelihood of this house, No,
I get you. And whether or not you believe this is all just kind of hype for a tourism attraction or tourist attraction, that part though intrigues me. It's like, no, you cannot try and clear this, because that, to me, I might sound silly, that kind of adds a little legitimacy to it. It's like they truly believe something is going on in that house.
Adds legitimacy, or is good advertising. Good
that too, right? Exactly. So, I guess we can only find out for ourselves, Mike. That's another thing that we were adding on our damn list. But again, 9.5 hour drive, that's not bad at all.
No,
Not bad at all.
easy to do.
Now, when we're there, I really don't want to, you know how some of these ghost adventures, you know, or these ghost investigation teams, they like to kind of reenact scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to try and perform an appendectomy on you, Mike. So
Okay.
we're not going to reenact it.
Yes.
I don't want to lay you down shirtless and, you know, it's just.
You would look at my belly and you'd go, where to start?
So I'm telling you right now. So we're going to leave that out. So we're going to be professionals about this.
Hey, I've got surgical gloves. I got a ton of those. And
Well, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. Not going to.
would you like a vasectomy, Patrick?
Just give me a couple beers. I'll be okay.
I ain't touching your balls. I don't care if I got gloves on or not.
No, and I thank you for that. I thank you for that. So,
Yeah. Anyway,
now, first, you know, moving on here.
yes,
first
we have
and
a lot
foremost-
to discuss here.
First and foremost, think about Mike, just the powerful imprint that this, you know, at the very minimum, the residual imprint that this would leave or could leave.
Yeah,
you know.
it'll never leave it. It'll never be gone. It's just that imprint will always be there.
And that's not to say that that's all this haunting is, because no, this is a
Absolutely.
very active haunting, very physically destructive haunting in a lot of manners. Very creepy. Definitely an intelligence is happening there somewhere. This is an intelligent haunting, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think we've talked about this too, Mike, where there definitely can be both intelligent and residual in the same locale.
Oh, absolutely. I totally believe that.
So, like, you know, perhaps if someone does claim to see like the apparition of Sally, that maybe could be a residual, you know, that could, or any such thing. But obviously, all these interactions and leans more towards the intelligent haunting.
Well, the physical attacks. I mean, there's definitely thought and just meaning, you know, direct meaning behind all of that.
I'm just looking at my wonderfully professional notes. Yep, and here we go, right here. There they are, my professional notes. I wrote down a ton of stuff actually, and it's quite sloppy as usual. I actually do have very, very nice handwriting. Not when it comes to writing down notes for the podcast, because I'm going 100 miles an hour when I'm doing it. It's one of those things where only I can read it, or they understand the structure of my notes, I should say. But I want to stop with just start, I should say, with some of the alleged occurrences that have gone on in this locale. And then we'll move on to the most prominently featured, the most well-known in the paranormal world couple who resided there for 2.5 years. And we'll talk about their experiences. I'm talking about Tony and Deborah Pittman, who lived there in the early to mid-90s.
They stayed until they couldn't stay any longer.
That's absolutely true, man. They experienced some almost literal hell. And they are also featured prominently on the Ghost Adventures episode.
Right.
So I'm sure most of our listeners are very familiar with that episode. It's those type of faces where the moment you see them, you go, "Oh yeah, I remember them." That's how I reacted today.
Yeah.
So very, very, very powerful and potent experiences for sure. But I have written down some of the more mundane. I'm doing that in air quotes. Some of the more mundane experiences are very, very common kind of paranormal experiences.
Stuff that I would just say, well, that's cool.
That's exactly it. And Mike, you just shake your head like, you know, ho hum, and what do you
Done
got?
that, been there, saw that.
Yeah, that's all you got. All righty then. Lights and TVs switching on and off inexplicably. Mr. Pickman would say that those are some of the first signs where they would shut off the TV manually, and like they'd be walking up the stairs, and before they're even halfway up the stairs, click, the TV turns back on, and they have to trudge back down and turn it off, and that would happen over and over and over. And
The way things started out kind of simple, you know, kind of easing its way in.
I know. Why is it like that in so many hauntings, by the way?
It's building up energy maybe for the big stuff.
I think so. I mean,
you know,
that makes
it's like
sense.
starting out with, let's feed off the fear of this a little bit, you know, and then this and that. And then the more fear that they build up, that maybe gets to be stronger and sucks in that energy.
I agree. That's a great point. The classic cold spots. This is, experienced by the people who live there as well as investigators. Well, all of these, I should say, were experienced by, well, not all of them. Several of them were experienced by both the residents and the investigators. Pictures in the house turned upside down. We're talking about, like pictures hanging on the wall and they be turned upside down. Kind of similar to what your brother experienced.
Right.
Has he had anything weird happen, by the way?
Not since the last time I asked him. No.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
Well, I hope Steve's house isn't like slowly building up,
Yeah.
into some terrifying aspects of hauntings. I don't want that. Now, we're getting a little more serious here, like floating objects. Specifically, lots of claims of seeing coins levitated, and
So kind of some normal poltergeisty kind of happenings.
definite poltergeisty type stuff. And you gotta stop yawning, by the way, because you're gonna.
I know.
What's going on here? Is that you're that excited about the episode, or
No, it's just the way it is.
just the way it is? Okay, you're pining for your enchilada. That's what you're doing. So.
I sit at home every day and I'm pining for something.
Just whatever it is, you're not sure.
Since work won't let me be there.
Oh, damn it! And Mike's rubbing his eyeballs right now. 'cause
That's from my yawning.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were crying. Damn it.
No.
I was like, do you need a moment? Are you okay?
No, I'm good.
Disembodied voices, including the voice of what appeared to be coming from a little girl.
I love hearing disembodied voices
Oh, God.
and whispers. It's awesome.
I know, it's just so casual to you. I don't know. I mean, it would
Love it.
would blow me away as well. I've never experienced it, so I don't know how I would react. I honestly think that I would be pretty good
I know you would be.
in situations like that. I don't
I
think
really feel that you would be too. You wouldn't. You're not the kind of person to really freak out. I mean, if some
No, not at all.
came up and grabbed you and threw you on the floor, I mean, that would freak me out.
Oh, of course.
If, not good. No touchy.
No touchy, no feely, no lifty, nothing. No chokey, no scratchy,
Yeah.
none of that stuff.
No kissy, no licky.
No kissy, no licky, nothing. Lots of activity with toys in the house because
Sally.
particularly speaking of the Tony and Deborah Pickman, because they had a newborn child at that time, and so they had a nursery and a lot of interesting activity going on in the nursery when it comes to like the teddy bears and the toys in the room, and again that kind of lends credence to the idea that there's a little girl haunting the house.
Well, and then what I had read in some parts also is that Sally was known to play with other children that were living in the house over the years and over the decades.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's, yeah.
Now, the last thing I saw that, well, obviously it's vacant now and it's used as a tourist trap of sorts. But were Tony and Deborah Pickman, were they the last people to ever live there? That I'm not sure of.
I'm not sure either, but that's a good question. I
guess listeners, do any of you know if anyone owned it after 1994? I'm not sure, or anyone rented it, I should say, because there's interesting stories about the property owner, Mike, who was a total skeptic, and he experienced some really weird, creepy stuff that we're going to get into. More kind of classic haunting type situations here. Doors opening and closing on their own. I mean, that seems to be very common. The doors also locking and unlocking randomly on their own. Very, very, very common. And again, what? Sometimes when I really think too hard about stuff like that, I'm like, what's the purpose? What are they doing? What are these spirits doing? Or do they even realize that they're doing anything?
Right. Well, it could be something that they're used to doing during their lifetime, that they gravitate to doing things, or it might be even just an attention getting thing, or messing with somebody in general. I mean, if they see coins or whatever floating through the air, what are they doing? They're going like, like, look at me, I'm floating by myself. This coin, this is me, a penny.
Yeah. Well, that kind of, I like that, as you're kind of being flippant about it, but I like that idea because it lends to the conversation of the differences between these hauntings. Like, are they aware that they are, like you said, are they aware that is something holding that penny in front of the person going, hey, look at this, look at this. Or are they just in that other dimension? Are they just playing with pennies, whatever, in that other dimension, not thinking that they're showing off to you or me or whoever's living there at the time? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It could be a thought of an intelligent thought of, well, I'm just going to take this pocket full of change and I'm going to set it up here on the mantle.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
And it happens to be seen by, somebody living.
The same thing with locking and unlocking doors, or closing doors. They could be going to bed, and that's
Absolutely.
that's in their other dimension. And like, I gotta lock the door because I always lock the door when I go to bed, or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever. There's only been certain times or periods of my life that I locked my bedroom door when I went to bed. Have you ever been a bedroom door locker?
No, never. It's like one time when I was living in Maine, and I've told this before, where came home from work, nobody was at home. It's when I was in the military. I went upstairs to take a shower, and when I turned the water off on the shower, I could still hear water running, and the bathroom sink was on full blast. Now, was that a poltergeist activity? Was it somebody thinking they were turning on the water, a ghost, or was it just to get attention? Even something like that.
Man.
Anyway.
Some of the more, and again, we're going further and further down this rabbit hole of creepy and physically damaging stuff. Now, other experiences include scratches. Lots of experiences with scratches,
very violent scratches, and mostly directed towards Tony
and males,
and male people. Yes,
the investigators or residents. People visiting. Those are always the ones, and that again, people who believe all of this say that, well, who was the last person that Sally saw? If you think that Sally is behind these scratches, the last person she saw was an older male who she believed was torturing and killing her.
Right.
So every time she sees one,
very much be a revenge type, attack.
Now, another thing that's kind of eerie, going back to those disembodied voices, it's described that as Sally was slowly passing away, her screams at one point, blood-curdling screams, just slowly started to quiet down as her spirit left her. That just hit me when I was reading about that, and it's this poor 6-year-old girl is just so terrified, Mike, and in such agony and such pain, and it's, oh gosh, I get kind of the willies thinking about it. I feel bad. My empathy really shows when to myself when I read about stuff like this. It just makes me feel terrible. It's like this poor child.
Very much unlike the man that I ran over in a bus where the scream stopped abruptly.
And Mike didn't give a shit. Well, he just kept on
going. I did, but
I know. He just kept on
we
going.
We were briefed. If anything ever happened, keep going.
Just keep going. I know.
That was a different country.
I didn't mean to giggle, but just
it was horrible. But anyway,
the way you said that, Mike, was just.
I know.
I couldn't help but laughing.
It's taken me many years to be able to deal with that. But anyway, like if we're staying there and we're just kind of like sitting in that front room, and even faintly hear that, where it's like if you heard it full blast, it would be blood curdling screams. But if you just hear it like there's a veil between us and that scream, but it's thin enough to where you can hear it screaming, and it's so violent screaming, and then it fades off. Yeah. And then knowing the story, and then right there, that would prove to you that yes, that's how it happened.
Man,
exactly as explained. Oh,
I think I would get emotional. I mean, I wouldn't. Absolutely. I wouldn't break down, but I would feel it. You know what I mean?
Well, you very well could break down. Look at how people that go into and they're sensitive, that they feel these things and they do break down. It's not their fault. It's something that they would never have thought that they would have done. But the emotion gets so high, and you're feeling emotion from that event. You can react to that.
I shouldn't say I don't know if I would or not. I'll put it that way. I mean, there's no way I could say I wouldn't. It's tragic and terrifying for sure. Some of the more specific experiences, and we're talking basically about the experiences of the owners or the renters. Sorry, Tony and Deborah Pickman. Again, they lived there for about 2.5 years. They're the most prominently featured residents of this locale. I believe they moved in 1993. Maybe it was 1992. But they were there for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the first experiences, as we said earlier, started kind of innocuously, kind of seemed fairly harmless, but moved into the more severe and terrifying experiences. And this isn't just them solely who experience stuff like this.
Right.
Their neighbors experience some pretty darn creepy stuff here. I want to talk about that real quick before we dive into Tony and Deborah Pickman's experiences. Their neighbor, and forgive me, I forget her name. I didn't write it down because I'm a bad podcaster. She was talking to the camera crew, the investigative team on a Sallie House documentary, and she was sharing a story of her then young son, whose bedroom window actually faced directly towards the Sallie house. And her young son was like just out of laying in the crib age. She had another child who was still in a crib. And repeatedly, this child would wake up terrified at the same time. You always hear about stuff like this too. Wake up around 2 or 3 in the morning, the same time every night, terrified, screaming, and saying that there's there's a monster here. There's a monster here. There's a monster here. And it got to the point where she couldn't take it anymore after one specific occurrence, where after waking him up, and he pointed towards the ceiling and he said, "Mommy, the monster is on the ceiling. Monster's on the ceiling." She described it as I just wrote down here, a large black mass that could fly. He's this little kid, saw this large black mass flying in his room, landing on the ceiling. No, it wasn't just a massive bat or anything like that.
No.
Because I know those all too well, as longtime listeners know. Landing on the ceiling and refusing to go to sleep and terrified. And again, I tend to believe children's stories so much more than someone who is trying to manipulate you, or someone who has an agenda, or just someone who's trying to create a scary story for the hell of it. When you can see a sincere terror in a child's eyes.
Oh,
and
right.
in their voice.
Absolutely.
The same woman, the same mother, was actually invited to be a part of an investigation, featured in the sightings investigation, I should say. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more before the episode is over. Long story short, after the first night of investigating down in the basement, she refused to enter it after the first night because, guess what, Mike? Out of nowhere, a brick was thrown at the crew. From where? They do not know, but upon looking at and studying said brick, they couldn't figure out where the hell it could have been coming from inside the basement until they realized it actually came from outside, because it had soil, and it looked like it was something that may have been buried around the base of the house. You know what I mean? Like part of the foundation, maybe. But it came from outside and was thrown at them they assumed, from the top of the stairs. And that happened not once, not twice, but during every night of that investigation. This brick was thrown at them. Terrifying. I don't know.
Yeah, when there's something that's got that much energy that could kill a person.
100% it could.
Easily.
Good Lord. That's slightly more than nefarious. That's downright evil.
Yeah. At the very least, it could break your toe if it landed on your toe.
Or stub it. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't blame me.
Thank you. I was setting you up.
I stubbed my toe.
Stubbed my toe. Now, getting back to Tony and Deborah Pickman.
Yes.
By the way, my personal opinion, I believe them thoroughly. And I wanted to talk about that very briefly. I just wrote down on my notes here, very believable, my impression. Because just how I was reading their body language,
right,
reading their voice and looking at their face as they're talking about the stories. You know what, Mike? You know what I'm talking about. You're the same way.
Absolutely.
You can read BS off of somebody in an instant.
Absolutely. And I also remember, too, if I'm correct in remembering this, that Tony at first he didn't want to be a part of this on camera thing or be acknowledged that this thing was happening. I think at first they had his face even blurred out.
Yeah, it was something that they're from it's a small town, and they were really concerned about, how they would be looked at, how people would treat them, they didn't want to be known as the nutcases from the small town, and I get it. I totally get that. Yeah, but very believable. I got a vibe of legitimacy from them as they talk.
Oh, absolutely.
That they share their story.
You could see the fear as well. I mean,
God, yeah.
there was, Well,
there's even
it was something they were going through something they did not want to go through.
Right. Even time you can tell like how people get kind of a nervous laugh because they laugh out of that's like their self-defense mechanism to keep themselves from reliving the terror because, I remember Tony specifically saying that, in the middle of the story, he's like, turns to his wife and he says, I still have problems talking about this one. And you can see it in his face. He's getting nervous. Right. He doesn't want to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, I get that. But again, some of the stuff seemingly started off innocuously enough. Sorry about that, which is harmless, Mike, by the way. That means harmless.
Thank you.
I'm sure you knew that.
Well,
really?
The library in my brain was out of function for the moment, so I'm glad you told me that.
Okay, just saying. But the seemingly harmless stuff didn't last very, very long. It got to the point where not only Tony was the one who was repeatedly being scratched, and it's the classic 3 scratch marks,
right?
Down the torso, down the back, on the arms. A number of locations. And I'm sure Tony didn't take off his shirt and flex like Zach Bagans always did. Like, look at this.
Probably not.
Hold on. Look at that. Zach, why are you flexing? I'm not flexing. Just look at the scratches.
And then all of a sudden a little curl in the front of his hair goes, twing.
and then you hear a very quiet little
one of his tattoos melts off.
Yes.
Not saying that they aren't real tattoos.
No, of course I'm not. Or no, you're not either. And we're not making fun of Zach. He's like,
no, absolutely not.
But
not until we get him on the show, and then we can just his open game after that.
Exactly. No. It's a free for all, man.
No, we have great love and respect for Zach.
I do. It's funny, when I see when I'm looking at the promotional emails that we get from the Travel Channel and all the upcoming shows, because Ghosttober is starting in a month, man. I love all the paranormal. Can't wait for it. It's the best time of the year. We
got to have a great October of
it's going to be awesome.
Great podcasting.
It's going to be awesome, man. When they're describing every cast member or any number of new shows and the cast members on those new shows, I noticed right away. Travel Channel describing Zach Bagans. Paranormal superstar Zach Bagans. I was like, wow. I guess, I guess there is someone who can claim to be a paranormal superstar. It's probably Zach. I mean, he's probably the face of paranormal research right now, and you may kind of scoff at that, you may giggle at that, but the guy is a hard ass worker, and he is.
Oh yeah. He works for his money. He
deserves all the success, and he's passionate about what he does, and he's a believer. So there's no doubting his passion in the whole thing. Absolutely not. Well, at one point, eventually, it came to where Tony was not only scratched to the point of bleeding on numerous occasions, but also attacked, picked up, thrown across the room, slammed into a wall, crashing down onto the floor, and was not allowed to get up. Something was holding him down. Several witnesses to that occasion said that you could see, the only thing that you could see, he couldn't make any noises. He was grunting and, just struggling. But they could see the veins and the neck muscles bulging out because he's trying in vain to get up. Something
straining
was on
so
him.
Much. At that point, I would move out of the room, out of the house, out of the block, out of the neighborhood, out of the town, out of the state, and possibly out of the country.
You know,
Can't go much further than that, but
oh
God
my
dang.
God. And again, when you watch this guy, when you watch him share this story, you can see it in his face that this has truly affected him. He is still,
Traumatized.
no pun intended, haunted by this experience.
Yes. Well, PTSD for sure.
Oh, good Lord. I mean, Mike, this was such a forceful attack. It knocked him out of his boots. One boot was knocked off of his foot. And he had pretty heavy duty workman's boots on that were tied. And it's somehow he came out of them.
Yeah.
Or at least one of them. And it was
crazy.
I am stunned that they didn't move out immediately after that.
Oh, absolutely.
And it took another even more terrifying occurrence, at least for Tony, to make them finally make that decision to head up and get on the hell out of there. Some of the stings or some of the scratch marks that he felt, one particular occasion after, I believe it was after this attack where he was tackled, and when they're finally able to get back to his feet and they went and grabbed their newborn child and they we're leaving for the night, we're getting out of here. And when he was strapping the kid into the car seat, he said he felt what he described as a wasp sting on his lower back. But there wasn't a wasp sting after his wife lifted up his shirt. Well, guess what it was?
Yeah.
And it's heavy duty scratch marks, bleeding.
Paranormal scratches are always described as just such a burning feeling. And I remember this has been so many years since I've seen this show that and the documentary about this, but they actually showed the scratch marks on his back, if I remember right.
Yeah, I saw some of them today too. Yeah, they're nasty.
They're pretty intense. Yeah.
And not just experienced by him, but almost all of the male crew members of the sightings investigative crew were all attacked at one point or another.
Yeah.
And I saw photos of all those today. And Mike, they're just nasty looking. It's like, holy crap. There's something evil going on there.
Then exactly. And then if I remember correctly, it wasn't during the night, one of the investigators, one of the guys, he went out in the kitchen and he got a plate of chicken out of the fridge.
Come on.
And then he was eating that, and then he looked down and it was full of maggots. Then he went into the bathroom and his face started peeling off.
Wait, are you serious? That sounds like something that happened in a movie.
The movie, Poltergeist, the first one.
Oh, damn it, Mike. Oh, God, you had me rolling there for a second.
Oh, yeah, sure I did.
Well, you know what else happened?
What?
I heard that female psychic who was there at one point, her head spun around and she puked green puke all over the entire investigative crew. So that was
yes. And then she said, "This house is clean."
No, clear. That's what she said.
Yeah, something
like that.
But anyway, Sally, though, okay, now have you in your research, did you find where she was brought to the doctor with this appendicitis and her mother brought her in to be operated on and to be checked? And it was said that it's a possibility that Sally was actually the child of a man and the African-American housemaid.
Wow.
I actually read that in some research.
No kidding. That's news to me, man. That's news to me.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I just was wondering because I did read that, but I wasn't sure. I mean, because I had never heard that before.
No, I still have yet to hear it until just now. That's pretty interesting.
Right. And also one other thing is that isn't there a cemetery like close by or across the street from this house where they actually found Sally's grave?
Again, I did not know that.
That I had heard a long time ago. That's something we could do some research into because I believe that they found her grave. Yeah. I could be wrong. I could be, mixing it up with another story, how many stories that we research and read on, but yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there yet to be learned of this story. That's for sure, man.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's really interesting. We definitely have to do some searching into that.
And like I was saying earlier, I think it was off air, but the Kansas Paranormal Group that originally had done the investigating while they had still lived there, Tony and
Deborah.
Yes, Tony and Deborah, when they still live there. If that group is still together, that would be awesome to get them on.
That's a great idea.
And to actually hear from them what they went through.
Ooh, I like that.
You know, investigating that house.
That's a good
and
idea.
And if they think it would be a good idea if we took the offer up on going there and spending a night.
Well, would we listen to their advice? Would we heed their words of wisdom if they said don't go there?
Probably not.
Probably not. That probably make us want to go there even more because that's just how we are. Some other experiences that they had during that sightings investigation, Mike. So we're coming up on an hour here, and I know you want to go eat your enchiladas.
Well, I got to be doing what I'm doing right now.
No, I got you.
They'll be there.
But again, when sightings investigative team went there, because obviously it was going to be featured on several episodes of sightings in 1994, but they wanted to find out for themselves. Some of the stuff that they experienced is truly terrifying and bizarre, and just really, we have to talk about it just to I want to get your thoughts, Mike, and I'd love to hear feedback from our listeners. A burning teddy bear was often seen where it was smoldering. Flames would every now and then come out of the teddy bear's head. And this is kind of related to the occurrences involved in the nursery with all the teddy bear stuffed animals, where Tony and Deborah would have all of their child stuffed animals set up on the shelf or like a window shelf type thing. And they would, after putting the child to sleep, when they're walking down the steps, the bedroom light would flick on. And like, what the heck? We just shut the light off. So they go back up there. This is a matter of seconds. And all those teddy bears were sitting in a perfect circle.
That's right.
On the floor.
I remember that.
And again, terrifying. But they looked at each other and said, okay, something weird's going on, but we're going to try and just move past it. And they put the teddy bears back up on the window shelf, do the same routine, shut the light off, go down the steps, bling, light turns on. Happened not once, but twice. Those bears sitting in that damn perfect circle.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's a significant meaning to that. These in a perfect circle.
Yeah.
You know, that could almost seem like some kind of a demonic ceremonial thing.
Yeah. Oh, God. No kidding. I just got the chills when you said that for some reason. Yeah. You know what also gives me the chills too is because that reminds me of that instantaneous type of paranormal physical activity. It reminds me of Poltergeist, the scene where Jo Beth Williams, I can't remember her character's name, but Jo Beth Williams is in the kitchen, and she's at one point she turns her back. When turning around, all of the table chairs instantly are all resting on top of each other. Yeah, that blows me away if that is actually possible, which I think it is. But
I believe so.
Because again, time and physical restraints do not exist in that realm. So it's, that to us,
exactly.
What could seem like an instantaneous occurrence could actually be something that we just absolutely do not understand anyways. But go ahead.
Time is a totally different animal.
Absolutely.
I had also read something about there were candles that would be mysteriously burning, and there would be burnt finger marks on these candles. Oh, man, now that's what it said, but now I don't know how would it be like fingerprints that were melted into this candle or burnt in, or how would I don't know how you'd describe burnt finger marks on mysteriously burning candles. Damn,
that's interesting. So like obviously like the fingerprints, like you said,
right?
I don't know, man. And it's interesting that you brought up the candles because I also found something where they would discover new candles that had never been lit, that had the burnt wick on it and wax was building up as if it had been melting, but had never ever been lit. They were still brand new candles that somehow mysteriously appeared as if they had been lit.
Yeah, that's strange.
Wrap your head around that one for a little bit.
Yeah, it's crazy. But anything's possible.
When the house is being investigated again by a medium / shaman during the sightings television show investigation, not only did they find that teddy bear, again, this is all alleged, the teddy bear with the smoldering head, the flames would kind of flicker out of the head. They also found a smoldering rose that was, upon closer examination, appeared to have been to have been burning from the inside.
Right.
But
Yep. I remember that now that you mentioned it too.
The outer petals, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Perfect condition. Everything else from the inside was smoldering.
Well, it was just because there is a firefly that was inside of it nesting. Bad joke. That was a very bad joke.
Wow. Well, now that you said that, now it's like that. Maybe that would be like an easy prank. Could you take like a wooden match and just kind of shove it in the very middle of a rose
but then you'd have to get in there to light it, and I don't know. That would be too much work.
Well, what I'm saying is like you would light it already, and then you would shove the flame into the middle of it. Well, it could be done, but of course it could be pranked. Yeah, of course, I know.
Yeah, but for what reason? I don't know.
Well, Mike, before we run out of time, and let's talk about the idea of, or the notions of, who we think is actually haunting this place, if it is true, because a lot of people believe that is not Sally necessarily, the ghost of Sally that is haunting it. Some believe it is actually the ghost of Dr. Charles Finney himself, who others also claim could have very well been affected by demonic attachment. Do we think that something demonic is going on in the Sally house that is affecting everyone who resides in the locale? Do we want to go as far to say that the land itself is haunted in any number of ways? The reason can I say this really quick? Because the reason I brought that question up, again, I say it 1,000 times, during the sightings team investigation, the property owner who was renting the house out to Tony and Deborah Pickman, a former police officer, lifelong skeptic, he had to sign a lease for the sightings team to come and be able to investigate and any number of things. We all understand why he had to do that. He didn't believe anything, but at one point he's like, well, I'm just going to go into the house and I'm going to start talking because I want to see what this is all about. And he basically spoke out. He said, Sally, if you're here, let me know. I'm going to leave you my phone number. If you're here, and this is his story. If you're here, I'm going to leave you my phone number. I want you to call my house, ring it 2 times, and then hang up. And according to him, a skeptic, the very next day, twice his phone rang. 2 times his phone rang twice. The second time when he answered, or the first time he answered it, there's nothing. The second time he answered it, all he heard was static. And he said that absolutely freaked him out. Very coincidental, but
could be.
Perhaps not. Quickly, and then another experience that he and another member of the crew experienced were, after a day of investigation, for whatever reason, they decided to drive past the house later on that night to see, let's go drive past the house. Let's see what's going on there, to see if there's anything interesting we can see from the outside. The moment that the car drove past the house, the man's lights in the car went out. And these were like lights back in the day where you had to physically manipulate them to like kind of pull out and push in the lights in order to, turn them on and off.
Right.
Well, they turned off when they were close enough to the house. And when they got far enough away from the house, well, guess what? You can figure it out. The lights turned back.
They turned on.
They decided to drive past it again. Not the lights this time, but the dome light came on out of nowhere. The moment they got far enough away, the dome light went off. And say what you will about stuff like that. It's their story versus everyone else. I get it. But judge for yourself. I believe that guy. When I was listening to him tonight, he seemed like he was legitimately creeped out by it, and he couldn't explain it. And like I said, he's a lifelong skeptic, former police officer, and he had weird things happen. So.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that can be said about it, and a lot that can be put on the side of, that could very well have happened.
Now, Mike, what are your vibes about this, Mike? What do you think is going on? And we're not experts here. Everyone knows that. You can tell the moment you tune in for 5 seconds that we're not experts.
Exactly.
Do you think there's something demonic? Do you think it's Sally? Do you think it's the doctor? What's going on?
I don't think it's demonic, even though it's not just because I'm not a big thing with the demonic, but
he's not a big thing.
Yeah. I ain't got a big thing for the demonic, but anyway, there's a lot of tragedy, a lot of extreme traumatic energy that was released in this house, and who knows how much more besides that we don't know about. What other things did this doctor have to do in this makeshift clinic, hospital, whatever, that left even more traumatic energy. The lady that's supposed to be haunting there, is that the mother of Sally that is looking for revenge? Is Sally looking for revenge? Is the doctor there stuck there because of what hand he had in this whole thing with Sally? There's a lot of reasons that this could be just a very, very legitimate haunting based on tragedy and extremely heightened emotions that have just carried on and are still there and will always be there.
And potential evil.
Right.
I mean, if this is something, again, if it's something that is in that house that is physically affecting those who live within it, let's say there's something demonic going on there, and that attached itself to the doctor and caused him to perform this emergency surgery. And, maybe the doctor himself was a haunted individual, but maybe he was also, I'm not suggesting anything. I don't want to say anything bad about the Finney family or the Finney lineage, but maybe this was a doctor who was haunted in any number of ways.
Right.
Maybe he was truly just an asshole. I didn't know the man. There's so many potential reasons and explanations for this, which I think is what makes this even more fascinating, because it makes you wonder. It makes you think.
Right.
Everybody has their different take and their different opinion. And you mentioned another, maybe you didn't mention it, Mike, but the final straw that broke the cliched back.
I was waiting for you to mention that.
Was what seemed to be like a nightmare that Tony experienced. Macy seems to be. I can always tell when Macy's anxious for. I think she senses when the episode's about ready to end.
I tell you, as soon as we sign off, and I move my microphone away, she is on me and licking my face and
she's sensing it from you.
Yeah, doing the whole Lassie thing, jumping down and looking back and barking at me to come and sit with her.
I know.
So anyway,
the paranormal experience that broke the ghostly back for Tony and Deborah Pickman, I'm not making light of it, was what Tony described as he thought was a nightmare, but they ended up realizing that it was an actual experience. Is when he and his wife were trying to sleep. His wife was asleep. He was not, and he was looking out his bedroom window when he saw what he described as what appeared to be dust particles forming slowly through his window. Like the street lights were shining through the window, and so he could still see like these dust particles forming, and they started to get darker and darker and darker until they formed a mass. Slowly but surely, this mass turned into a free-floating apparition of a woman. Never seen her before. Absolutely creeped him out. The woman floated over to him. Started to... I'm getting kind of creeped out by just saying this. I don't want to say mumbled, but quietly but clearly stated, "I'm going to," and then boom, reached out right for him, reached out an arm for Tony towards his neck until he could not move. He was trying to scream, the classic nightmare situation where you cannot make a noise, you cannot scream. Very night terror-ish,
Very, night paralysis.
Night paralysis, sleep paralysis. Absolutely, man. Was he having a sleep paralysis experience, or was this paranormal? Either way, they couldn't take it anymore, and they finally moved out after that experience.
Yeah. Well, even if he was sleeping, it could have been a dream attack. I believe you can be attacked in your dreams while you're sleeping.
We talk about we could astral project in our dreams.
Exactly.
Why could we not, interact with others? People say that we can supposedly talk with the spirits on the other side while we're dreaming. So why not, unfortunately, be attacked by them?
Yeah, and then this, I am going to, and then attacking. It's like, okay, on the count of 3, and then on 2, rip the duct tape off of somebody's mouth or something, like 1, 2, bang. It's just.
I don't like that.
What happened to 3?
Right, exactly. That's right. You're supposed to give me an extra count there, man.
Yeah.
I don't like that. That's terrifying. That's terrifying.
Very terrifying.
Final example here was another investigator who said that she claimed. Tony also said he he actually encountered the apparition of Sally, which absolutely terrified him. He just arrived at home. He was grabbing some orange juice out of the refrigerator, pouring himself a glass of orange juice. So he turned around and right standing by the little island, the kitchen island, all of a sudden out of nowhere, this young girl was there staring at him, looking terrified. He said that she looked terrified.
Right. And yeah, that's right. And there was a drawing made of her, actually.
Yes, absolutely.
That just a very cute, innocent looking little girl.
It's terrifying. Finally, the last one, I thought it was the last one, but the one I wanted to throw out there was a female investigator said that she saw the apparition of the doctor, of Dr. Charles Finney. She also claimed to hear his disembodied, cackling, laughing voice alongside the voice of a young girl who was saying, "I'm sorry, it's a trick. It's a trick. I'm sorry." This is what the young girl was supposedly saying, followed by the doctor's cackling laughter.
Wow. I wonder what that means. Was that like an intelligent message that was...
That's what they were suggesting in that documentary, is that they thought that Sally was trying to warn the investigators of something.
I see.
And, I don't know why she felt the need to apologize, saying, "I'm sorry. It's a trick. It's a trick. I'm sorry." But man, terrifying.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Throughout the whole thing, I don't think Sally was the malicious spirit in the whole thing.
I don't get that vibe either. I really don't.
Yeah. I mean, that was, it came across as that they were trying to, suggest that, Sally's attacking and everything. And Sally's this little demonic little girl or whatever, but I don't think she was the malicious one.
No, she's a tragic victim. And
exactly.
Unfortunately, I hope that she is at rest. She is at peace. Somehow it's very sad to think that she would maybe be trapped there at the site of her death.
Yeah. Well, we have to go there and find out.
9.5 hour drive. I'm down for it, man. Again, I'm not gonna pretend to I'm not gonna pretend to give you an appendectomy, so don't get excited about that one. You can't bring any grills. We can't grill some burgers or Kansas City barbecue, as Mike was talking about earlier today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We can have snacks. We can bring chips, and you're a big potato chip freak.
Oh, that's the one downfall is frickin' potato chips for me, man. That's my vice is potato chips. Good.
Leave crumbs in the Sally house.
As the professionals that we are,
Yeah.
Did you say Kansas City barbecue or Kansas barbecue? I can't remember what you said. I think you said Kansas barbecue, not Kansas City.
Yeah. Well, I've been down in that area, and the barbecue there is absolutely phenomenal.
Well, you gave your final thoughts. I believe I tend to agree with you, Mike. I'm not of the vein that Sally is the negative energy in that house. I think, at least not consciously, a negative energy. If it's negative, it's because she is such a tragic victim. Maybe there might be the negative, sad energy imprint there in the house.
Yep. The trauma that she went through.
The trauma, absolutely. And again, I don't know the true full story of Dr. Charles Finney. Longtime listeners know I absolutely believe in demonic possession, demonic attachment. But where did that come from? Why would it be in that house? Why would it be there in the first place, affecting everyone who moves in and out of said building? It's a mystery, and that's what adds to the intrigue. And
absolutely.
I'm fascinated by it. Well, Mike, this has been great. Holy shit, we're up to about an hour and 12 minutes already. I think it's time to call it a night, my friend.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be good.
Because we need to refuel and do a couple of Patreon episodes tomorrow afternoon.
Yes.
So, Retro and Randoms subscribers, listeners, hang tight. We'll get another episode out tomorrow. And same thing for Paranormally Zone Patreon page listeners. We love all you guys. Help spread the word. See if you can get a family member or friend to give us a shot for a month. As little as $1. Love. Mike, until next time.
All you need is love.
Thanks, John. Well, Mike, until next time, what do our paranormal family friends need to do?
Brothers and sisters, peace out.